It's crazy to think I'm at this point, but here I am. My soon-to-be ex-wife, Megan, and I had always dreamed of having kids. When she finally got pregnant last year, we were over the moon. I was determined to be the best husband and father I could be. I knew what it was like to have a distant father, and I had seen too many husbands fall short in my time working as a tech in labor and delivery. My brother is a classic example of a neglectful dad, and I was determined not to repeat those mistakes. But about 4 weeks into her pregnancy, everything started to go downhill. First, Megan stopped wanting sex, which I understood because of the hormonal changes and stress. But then she didn't want any physical contact at all. No cuddling, no kissing, nothing. She became increasingly distant. Her eating habits were all over the place. She'd demand specific foods all day, then scream at me when I brought them to her, only to want something else. I chalked it up to hormonal issues and tried to be patient. Then she stopped letting me attend any of her appointments or pregnancy groups. She spent more and more time away from home, and when she was around, she was cold and bitter, constantly angry at me. This went on for months. She even slapped me a couple of times when I forgot one of her many demands. By the 5th week, I was doing everything around the house, as she refused to lift a finger. I was also the primary breadwinner, barely sleeping and running on fumes. Megan made me sleep in the guest room and constantly tried to pick fights. I never raised my voice or my hand, reminding myself that this wasn't really her, that it was all just pregnancy stress and it would be worth it in the end. She shut me out of all baby decisions. No input on the name, the nursery, nothing. A month before she was due, Megan exploded, calling me useless and saying she was going to stay with her mother. She refused any help from me, threatened divorce, and even mentioned getting a restraining order if I tried to contact her. I found out about the birth of my son through a Facebook post. Megan had posted a picture with her mother and some family. I was shattered. When I went to the hospital to see my son, security kicked me out. After months of abuse and hatred, I was done. I opened a new bank account, moved half of our joint funds there, and stopped spending any money until I could confirm if the child was mine. I got a lawyer and sent Megan stuff to her mother's house. I demanded a paternity test and decided to divorce her. If she cheated, she's on her own. Last week, Megan called me, practically hyperventilating. She said it was all a mistake, that she wasn't staying with her mother but at a friend's house. She wanted to come home, saying our son needed his father. I told her I didn't believe he was my son. Why else would she behave like this? I said I'd only consider helping once I saw the paternity test. She asked to meet tomorrow at a park to talk. I agreed, mainly to say everything I've been holding back. My parents hope we can reconcile, but they understand if I can't. My brother's opinion doesn't matter, but my sister thinks I should at least hear Megan out. The next morning, I woke up early, my mind buzzing with all the things I wanted to say to Megan. It felt like I had a script running through my head, but I knew once I saw her, everything would come rushing out. I got ready, grabbed a coffee, and headed to the park. The park was quiet, the morning sun casting long shadows through the trees. I spotted Megan sitting on a bench near the playground. She looked tired, worn out, and as I approached, she glanced up with red-rimmed eyes. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Hey," she replied, barely above a whisper. We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of everything unsaid hanging between us. Finally, I took a deep breath and started. "Megan, I need to understand what happened. Why did you push me away? Why did you treat me like that?" She looked down at her hands, fidgeting with a loose thread on her sweater. "I don't know," she said softly. "I was scared, overwhelmed. I felt like I was losing control of everything, and I took it out on you."
"I'm sorry."
"Sorry doesn't cut it, Megan. You shut me out of everything, even our son's birth. You threatened me, made me feel like I was nothing. How can I just forget that?" She nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I know. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want to make it right. I want our son to have his father. Please, just give me a chance to prove that I can be better." I looked at her, trying to see the woman I fell in love with. "I need that paternity test, Megan. I need to know he's mine." "I'll do it," she said quickly. "Anything to make this right." We sat there for a while longer, talking about the practicalities. I told her about the new account, the lawyer, everything. She listened quietly, nodding along, accepting it all. As I left the park, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Anger, sadness, a glimmer of hope. I didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in months, I felt like I had some control over my life again. A week later, we got the paternity test results. He was mine. I felt a surge of relief and a wave of responsibility. Despite everything, this little boy was my son, and I was determined to be there for him. We started working through the legalities, setting up a custody arrangement. Megan moved back in temporarily, just until we figured everything out. It was awkward, tense, but we made it work for our son. Slowly, very slowly, Megan and I started to communicate better. We attended counseling sessions, separately and together. We talked about everything: the pregnancy, the anger, the distance. It was painful, but necessary. One evening, after putting our son to bed, Megan and I sat on the porch, the cool night air wrapping around us. "I know we can't go back to how things were," she said quietly, "but maybe we can find a new way forward." I nodded, staring out into the darkness. "Maybe, but it's going to take time." She reached over, her hand covering mine. "I'm willing to try if you are." I looked at her, seeing the sincerity in her eyes. For the first time in a long time, I felt a spark of something. Maybe hope, maybe forgiveness. Only time would tell. Over the next few months, we continued to work on our relationship. It wasn't easy, and there were times I doubted we'd make it, but we kept trying for our son's sake. We built new routines, new memories, and slowly, the pain of the past began to fade. We celebrated our son's first birthday together, surrounded by family and friends. As I watched him toddle around, laughing and playing, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. Despite everything, we had made it through. Life isn't perfect, but we're stronger now. We've learned to communicate, to support each other, and most importantly, to be the parents our son deserves. In the end, this journey has taught me that love and forgiveness can heal even the deepest wounds. And while the future is uncertain, I know we'll face it together as a family. This is just the beginning of our story, a story of struggle, pain, but ultimately of hope and resilience. I wanted to share this because I know there are others out there going through similar situations. I want you to know that it's okay to feel lost, to feel angry, and to struggle. But it's also okay to seek help, to try to mend what's broken, and to find a new path forward. Thank you for listening. We'd love to hear your thoughts, reactions, and ideas on today's story. Did any particular character steal your heart? Were you on the edge of your seat because of a surprising plot twist? Or perhaps you have your own theories about what might happen next. Whatever it is, don't hesitate to share. Please remember to keep all comments respectful and constructive. We value diverse opinions and perspectives. Spoiler alert: if discussing specific plot points or twists, please use spoiler tags to avoid spoiling the story for others. Positive vibes only. Let's spread positivity and encouragement within our community. Kind words can make all the difference. Conclusion: your voices matter, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say. Let's continue this journey together as we celebrate the magic of storytelling. Thank you for being a part of our community.